Hello, I'm Jackie Stewart. Welcome to Silverstone, the home of British motorsport. We're here for the COYS International Historic Festival, and we're also here to celebrate 50 years of Formula One Grand Prix racing. A lot of it has happened right here, from when Gonzalez in a 4.5 litre Ferrari finally beat the Alfettas, driven by Fangio and Farina and the likes of them. This place has seen everything. In the future, I hope the Grand Prix will be here again, and I hope you're going to enjoy what you're going to see.
The British Racing Drivers Club that owns Silverstone assembled a galaxy of Grand Prix stars, most of whom were to race or at least demonstrate the sorts of cars that had made them famous. It provided a unique opportunity to see great historic racing and listen to the drivers who made motor racing history over the last 50 years. The 5 decades of the Formula One World Championship were represented by 5 of the greatest names of the era. Nigel Mansell in the Lotus 87B, John Watson in the McLaren MP4, Jackie Stewart reunited with his Tyrrell 003, Sir Stirling Moss in a beautiful Maserati 250F, and Tony Brooks in a Ferrari 625. They reminisced to Murray Walker and Neville Hay about their favourite cars and circuits.
The 92 car I could make sing and dance. I love that car. And that's why I qualified and outpaced my teammate so well, Ricardo. So for me, probably, the best car that I could talk to, and it's like putting on another pair of trousers, was the 92 car.
Stirling Moss won the international trophy at Silverstone in 1956 in the Van Wall. What are your memories of that? Because it was the first really big victory for that.
That to me was a fantastic day, because I'd wanted all my life to drive British cars and had done so up until it was not possible anymore. In '54 is why I got the Mazda. And then for an English car to come along, built here in green and the whole lot, to come along and win in a race where the competition was the same as Formula One. I mean, it's the same as a Grand Prix. Was a wonderful thing, and to get in that car and realise that at last now we've got something here that with a little bit of encouragement this could take the title away from the Italians, which of course we did.
At that time it was a very, very fast circuit, and corners such as Woodcote, I mean, that was a massive corner, and one of those places that I enjoyed fast corners. I enjoyed the challenge of a fast corner, and the challenge of Woodcote was to try and take it flat. Not necessarily that it would benefit you in a lap, because in fact what you ended up doing was probably scrubbing off more speed by trying to take it flat than maybe just breathing the engine on entry.
It's a very good car. It's won 8 Grand Prix, this car, on its own, which apparently is more than any other car in the history of motorsports with the same chassis. The 1971 winner of the British Grand Prix, so it's very nice to have it back at Silverstone.
What I remember most about my time at Silverstone was in '57 at the Daily Express Trophy. I was driving Rob Walker's 2-litre Cooper, and it was a race for Grand Prix cars, and amazingly we managed to make fastest lap by quite a margin, I think by a second, with this 2-litre Cooper, whereas the competition was 2.5.
Tony Brooks was standing in for Froilan Gonzalez, the winner of the 1951 British Grand Prix. Confined to hospital after a heart attack, he sent a message of best wishes to all at Silverstone, which he dubbed the World Cathedral of Formula One. And if there's one man responsible for turning Formula One into today's massive global sport, it's Bernie Ecclestone, whose career started back at the beginning of the World Championship.
I drove a Formula 3 car in the first British Grand Prix, the first race of the World Championship at Silverstone, when Gonzalez was there. I either won the races or went off the road or something, so probably the latter, because I don't remember winning it. I mean, Peter Collins and Stirling were in the race, so it says enough that I probably wouldn't have won it if I'd have kept going anyway.
The cars on the grid for this, the pre-1952 Grand Prix car race. An absolutely fantastic entry with, on pole position, John Ure in the ERA. Alongside is the famous Remus ERA, driven here by Ludovic Lindsay. The lights go to green, away they go, down towards Copse Corner. Sir John Venables Llewellyn there in the Alfa Romeo, looking for a way through as they dive down towards Copse Corner for the first time. The Alfa Romeo P3 there, and the cars turn their way round Copse on lap 1. Barry Williams goes through in the green ERA, Dick Skipworth's car, and now they accelerate their way on up towards Beckett for the first time. Side by side, John Ure just at the moment though being able now to move ahead there of Ludovic Lindsay, and John Ure it is in the lead. That car rolled here in the 1949 British Grand Prix when Geoffrey Ansell drove it. But now with John Ure working so hard behind the wheel, he's in the lead. Ludovic Lindsay second, and Sir John Venables Llewellyn third, but going very, very wide there, looking the Alfa Romeo P3, sliding his way out of the corner. Fourth is Michael Steele in the famous ERA R4D. The Raymond Mays hill climb car has now down towards Stowe Corner for the first time. The two leaders are together, and through into the lead goes Ludovic Lindsay. Round the outside goes Remus, the car that his father made famous, the Honourable Patrick Lindsay, but John Ure comes back at him on the inside. It's like a Formula Ford race, never mind a historic Grand Prix car race. The two ERAs almost wheel to wheel. Ludovic Lindsay goes wide, and John Ure now battles his way through. He's going to have the outside line though, coming down towards Club Corner. Ludovic Lindsay goes through. It's a slightly different club from the ones that the Grand Prix cars will use. It's been softened a little bit, as here you can see in replay, John Ure diving back up the inside of Ludovic Lindsay. Great to watch these cars, the driver sitting high in the cockpit there, and you can see them working, and you can also now see Ludovic Lindsay lifting the wheel, coming through Priory down towards Brooklands. Using all of the curves there to try and maximise the line. Another wheel lifted there, the front left wheel high in the air, and John Ure right on the tail of Ludovic Lindsay now. They turn their way out of Luffield, sliding through, back on the power. The 1500cc supercharged cars now accelerate up towards the line. Now here's a replay. Look at the way that the chassis flexes there as Ludovic Lindsay, sawing away at the wheel, makes his way out of Brooklands, up then towards the right-hander of Luffield, as there, I'm afraid, crawling down the pit lane and into retirement is Dick Smith and the Fraser Nash. Race leaders turning their way now down towards Stone again. John Ure comes from nowhere, almost touches the back of Lindsay's car, and round he goes. Stays the right way up this time, unlike 1949, but the car is in the gravel, and I rather fear that that is John Ure's race over and done with. No damage to that ERA, but sadly John Ure is going no further. There he is, safe and sound, out of the car, brakes so late. He might just possibly have skimmed the back of Lindsay's car, stands on the brakes, the car swaps ends, and off it goes, into the gravel, out of the race. You're looking now at the battle for third place on the inside in number 47, ERA R3A is the redoubtable Barry Williams. He goes ahead there of Michael Steele in R4D. The ex-hill climb car then drops back behind Dick Skipler's car, as Barry Williams, who is doing the majority of races this weekend here at the Coys Festival, makes his way through now up in third place. There is the race leader, Ludovic Lindsay, and still going very well in second place is Sir John Venables Llewellyn with the Alfa Romeo P3, himself an ex-ERA racer. There is Ludovic Lindsay turning his way now out of Chapel Curve onto the Hanger Straight. Replay here of Barry Williams diving up the inside, snatching third place away from Michael Steele, and Barry Williams then goes through up into third place. They're turning his way through, and number 21 is Duncan Ricketts with the ill-fated ERA E-Type. Duncan Ricketts accelerating now on up towards Abbey, as over the line comes Ludovic Lindsay. It's going to be a win for Remus. Over the line now goes Ludovic Lindsay. The ERA is victorious. R5B comes out on top. Second across the line should be Sir John Venables Llewellyn. There he is now in the Alfa Romeo P3, and Barry Williams right on his tail at the end there. Great drive by Wizzo as Duncan Ricketts retires. So confirmation of those results, Ludovic Lindsay the winner ahead of Sir John Venables Llewellyn, Barry Williams third from Michael Steele fourth, Richard Pilkington and Barry Baxter round out the top six, as a delighted Ludovic Lindsay can now celebrate.
Sir Stirling Moss's racing career bridged the transition between front-engine cars like Maserati's 250F and rear-engine machines like the Lotus 18, which he drove so memorably at Monaco. Were there marked differences between the two?
In the actual driving, yes, they were, but in the racing, no. I mean, when you're racing, it's tactics, it's where you go, when you pass the guys, how you do it. But to physically drive them, yes, they were different. There's no doubt the rear-engine car was far more forgiving. I mean, you only have to watch Jack Brabham or John Surtees. I mean, get the thing sideways. They were tremendous fun to drive, but they haven't got quite the same style as the front engines, no doubt. I mean, if one's talking of the most beautiful cars, I think the front engine cars have it, there's no doubt.
The grid forming up now for the Maserati UK pre-1966 Grand Prix car race. As you expect at this meeting, a fabulous entry on pole position, the BRM of Dickie Atwood alongside is Frank Sittler in John Coombs' Brabham BT4. The lights go to green, good start by the BRM, but Frank Sittler dives across there in the yellow Brabham, looking for a way through on the run down towards Cops Corner. Swinging their way through, John Beasley going through there in the blue Brabham, as everybody now scrambles their way out of Cops and accelerates on up towards Beckett for the first time. Frank Sittler it is in the lead. Second is John Beasley, and a slow start really by Dickie Atwood, losing touch as they go up towards Beckett then for the first time. Rod Jolly third, hurling the Cooper around. Through Beckett's there for the first time, and now making their way towards Chapel Curve onto the Hanger Straight. A replay here of the lights going to green. Rob Zlamplu stalling there, everybody managing to dodge round him. A rather scary moment for Rob Zlamplu. Race leaders then, coming down the Hanger Straight. Frank Sittner, the man in the lead, former British Touring Car Champion, BRDC Director, and Rod Jolly diving up the inside there, trying to scrabble past John Beasley up into second place, and he's done it. Rod Jolly going great guns there in the Cooper, accelerating his way now on towards the right-hander of Club Corner, almost using all of the curbs there as well, but very, very determined to try and break clear of Beasley. He's latching onto the tail of Sittner as well. Rod Jolly in the Cooper, the T45-51, swings its way now through Club. There's John Beasley in third place, Dickie Atwood going through in fourth, fifth is Paul Alexander, and sixth, right up behind him now, is John Harper. John Harper, who always goes well in historic cars, looking for a way past Paul Alexander's BRM, as Frank Sittner wants that lead back. There, those sitting in the pit lane, looking as though he's out of the race already. Alan Bailey, latest 18 out of the race, as Frank Sittner now may have a problem. Look, he's losing touch with Rod Jolly, and as they come over the line, John Beasley is going to dive past him, and also coming up on the inside line, there's a BRM, diving down towards Cops Corner, going through up into second place there this time, through on the inside, goes number 16, that's Barry Williams in his BRM, he goes through ahead of John Beasley, and they're coming into the pits, is Dickie Atwood, the pole position man is in trouble. That's his race well and truly run now. BRMs used to have a habit of coming into the pit. They're still doing it. Paul Alexander's BRM is going well though. Run up alongside John Harper there, coming through Club. You saw in the background Harper go wide. Alexander goes back ahead of him. John Harper then accelerating on in the ex-Stirling Moss Cooper 51. The car built in 1959 and scrabbling through on the inside there. Desperately late on the brakes. John Harper drifts wide. Wonderful battle between the two. John Harper gains the place there. Manages to hang on to it right the way through Priory, twitching on and off the lock there, working so hard behind the wheel. Great to watch this. It's work all the way around the circuit for John Harper. He's got Paul Alexander's mighty BRM right up behind him. P261 of Paul Alexander chasing on behind the Cooper there, then runs wide. Alexander gets the tighter line coming out of Luffield, and through he goes, up on the inside line now. Rod Jolly still leading. In second place is Barry Williams. Third is John Beasley in this great battle for fourth as Frank Sittner comes into the pit lane. Down he comes, out of the race. Poor old Frank Sittner, led early on and into retirement now. Paul Alexander ahead of John Harper, but not for long. John comes back at him on the inside, leaves his braking desperately late. Charges through, and that gains John Harper in the Cooper another place, but he runs wide, look, using all of the curb, two wheels on the grass even, coming out of Stoke Corner. Can't drive modern Grand Prix cars like that. Paul Alexander locks up that clouds of tar smoke as he looks for a way past, coming into Club. Absolutely fantastic battle for third place then as they turn out of Club Corner now. And back marker getting in the way. John Harper absolutely on the limit there, storming his way around the outside. Paul Alexander goes to the other side, dives across now as they come into the old Abbey. They don't use the new one that the modern Grand Prix cars use, they have the softer old Abbey. Two more cars there coming into the pit lane. Martin Borain's Cooper is one of them. Alan McGregor with the BRP BRM is the other. Rod Jolly, a dominant leader of this race. You're looking though for the fight for third. There it is with John Harper just ahead of Paul Alexander. Now they've got to be really careful here, picking their way through the traffic. There is Paul Alexander with the BRM. Over the line comes Rod Jolly. Race win, there's the checkered flag. Great drive by Rod Jolly in the Cooper. He wins the first of the two pre-66 Grand Prix car races. John Beasley coming home second ahead of Paul Alexander. He gets ahead of John Harper at the last corner with Spencer Flack fifth and Chris Smith in sixth place. Rod Jolly living up to his name, a very happy winner here at Silverstone of the first pre-66 race.
Join us again after the break here at Silverstone, where you will see some of the most wonderful cars in the world being driven by some very special people.
Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts.